With good news for today from Baptist Press, I'm Brandon Porter. September is National Suicide Prevention Month, and it's no surprise that the closer a person is to someone who has been impacted by suicide greatly affects the way they view the need to address suicide. According to a Lifeway Research study, those who have been impacted by the loss of a friend or family member by suicide are more likely than those who have not been as closely affected to see suicide as an epidemic in the U.S. Females are more likely than males to say they have a friend or relative who has committed suicide, and they're also more likely to say suicide is an epidemic. Similarly, those in the South are among the most likely to say they have a friend or family member who has committed suicide and to say that suicide is an epidemic. White Americans are among the most likely to have had a friend or family member who has committed suicide and to identify suicide as an epidemic. If you or someone you know is suicidal, you can contact the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you're experiencing a mental health-related distress or are worried about a loved one who may be, you can call or text 988, or you can chat at 988lifeline.org.
Good News for Today is made possible through our friends at the Voice of the Martyrs, a nonprofit organization that serves persecuted Christians around the world. Founded in 1967 by Richard and Sabina Wurmbrand, VOM is dedicated to inspiring believers to deepen their commitment to Christ and to fulfill His Great Commission, no matter the cost. Find out more and sign up for their free monthly magazine at vom.org/good news.
Gen Z adults, those 25 and under, match elders in a desire to share their faith and lead all ages in their openness to spiritual conversations. That's according to the American Bible Society in their September 8th release of the latest chapter of the 2022 State of the Bible Report. More than half of Gen Z and elders expressed a desire to share their faith with others. 58% of Gen Z engaged in individual spiritual conversations with 3 or more persons in the last year, according to the report. The ABS defines elders as people who are 76 years old and older. Factors that likely influence Gen Z's gospel sharing are changes in American culture that have made the gospel genuinely new to Gen Z. American culture is less overtly Christianized, and methods of evangelism have adjusted to include Christian music, films, novels, streaming television, and internet memes. You can read the full report at our website and sign up for daily emails at baptistpress.com.